Hey guys, in this video I'm going to be explaining exactly the reason why news is so important and how we can correlate it in our day-to-day trading and how it can affect the market in a major way. And especially in these market times at the moment with the volatility, with Trump being in president, he can simply say a word and the markets can shift drastically, not just in the Forex market as well as the crypto and stock market as well. So it's very important to keep an eye out on it. So I'm going to teach you in this video how to utilize Forex Factory correctly, how to correlate your news in accordance with your strategy, and how to align it all together so that you are ahead of the markets. So if we look at Euro USD here, obviously we can see a massive dump in the markets. Now, what's very important is if we go look at what Trump tweeted at about 3:42 a.m., that's in our time, it was about 20 minutes ago. Trump said more than $15 trillion will be invested in the USA, a record. Much of this investment is because of tariffs. If a radical left court is allowed to terminate these tariffs, almost all of this investment and much more will be immediately cancelled. In many ways, we would become a third world nation with no hope or greatness again. Time is of the essence. President Donald J. Trump, right? So he posted that, obviously with all this good news that is coming out, saying more than $15 trillion will be invested in the USA. Obviously this pumps up the dollar. People are more interested in what the dollar is going to be doing. It's showing positive news that the dollar is going to start rising once again. During that time, we can clearly see that Euro USD dumped in the market, and this is on the 30-minute time frame. If we look at the 5, we can clearly see ever since that news came out, we had a massive drop to the downside, and we are still hovering at the moment. If we go take a look at what DXY did, absolutely skyrocketed to the top side just by one simple tweet. And the way you can utilize this is simply coming to Forex Factory. Of course, the tweets are not always going to be on what is being said. As you can see here, we're going to go over now shortly how to utilize this specific page in terms of your day-to-day trading. But what's very important is you can actually come to news here and you can see, okay, cool, what is this news related things going on? For example, we have the UK 30-year yield climbs to about 5.66%, highest since 1998 BBG, right? So now what you can simply do is actually go take a look at it and read a little bit about what is actually going on in terms of the news that's going on here. And it's a tweet from Christopher Barrod, right? And that's obviously really good for the pound. But in terms of GBP USD, obviously this is still entitled with how price is moving towards Donald Trump. Donald Trump and the dollar has the most power at the moment in terms of what pair you're trading. So yes, of course, it can be really good news for the pound, but because the dollar has more weight to it, we can see that there's still going to be a drop in the market before GBP USD, Euro USD, or any pair that is against the dollar. And then obviously if we take a look at USD JPY, this is skyrocketed this morning, had a massive bullish momentum to the top side here. So again, coming back to the news, you can simply click on the news little channel and you can go read. I think what traders miss out on a lot is they think it's all about just data and charts and candlestick patterns on the trading view. Essentially, that is not what it is at all. We have to do thorough research into exactly what pair we're trading. Yes, it doesn't mean you have to spend 24 hours a day trying to research news, but it's very important. When picking ideas, it's important to understand what news is going to occur in this time that you're going to be trading, as that can either lead to, take profits, give you some volume to push into your direction, or, for example, if you want to sell, if you want to buy in Euro USD this morning, you would have been taken out very quickly, right? So that's why it's very important to understand what news is going to occur while you're in your trade position. So again, coming back to the news here, we can clearly see there are quite a bit of events that's going on. This was posted 2 hours ago. We have a lot of 7 hours ago, 9 hours ago. Simply just by taking a look, US dollar weakened on the rate outlook, gold hits record highs. Now you can actually click on this and why is the dollar weakening and why is the gold running high? This was about 7 hours ago during Asian session. And if we go quickly before we go into the news event, you can see gold has been running beautifully to the top side here. We just break into all-time highs again. I mean, that was $3,500 level per ounce. We just cracked above it, kind of holding this area at the moment. So one thing that's important to understand about gold is the power is shifting to a lot of other countries as well. I mean, Europe, the pound, England, a lot of these other countries are buying up more gold so that they don't. So it's not only the dollar that can control the gold markets. As we saw back in from 2016 downwards, dollar held the most power in accordance to what gold is going to currently do. So if the dollar went up, you would see gold sell off. If the dollar went down, we would see gold start buying up. And essentially that's what we've been kind of seeing now. But yes, the dollar's been dropping. The dollar still holds a lot of value towards gold, determines price. But now with more and more countries, buying up gold, holding their reserves, we can see the power is a lot of shifting as well. Now it's not only the dollar that we have to worry about. We have to look at what the pound is doing, what the euro is doing. One of these big countries, what are they currently doing with their gold reserves, as that can definitely affect price, right? And that's why it's important to come to the news event and do little research on it. I mean, if we can clearly see here on Yahoo Finance, we can go take a look at what exactly is. And if you do a little bit of research, I mean, as I was saying earlier on, that dollar is not the only thing that's controlling the market now. Remember, when investors scare away from stocks, investing into certain countries, equities and bonds, where is the safe haven? The safe haven is usually gold, right? So as we can read here, on European bonds yielding at multi-year highs, right? It's important. London and Singapore long-dated bond yields in Britain and France hit their highest in over a decade on Tuesday as investors grow increasingly worried about the state of finances in the countries around the world, while gold touches a fresh record high. So basically what this is saying, and why it's important to go look at this information and do some research, is because now you can clearly see where is an investor's mindset. They're clearly not investing heavily into stocks at the moment. They're not investing into countries, bonds. Investors are not specifically running towards stock investments within different countries. They're not looking at cryptos. Where is the safe haven at the moment? And the safe haven has always been gold and a little bit of silver as well. So we've seen silver hit all-time highs. We've seen gold hit all-time highs, and it's clearly stating that there's a lot of worry and uncertainty in the market around the world of what is going on because of tariffs, how the countries are being run, how they're combating tariffs. And that's why it's so important to realize that this news can affect your decision on a long-term scale and long-term vision when it comes to different pairs as well. So for me, because of this, I'm not thinking of looking into getting to sell positions, even though the sell might look great. I'm keeping new economics behind at the back of my head, saying, okay, cool. At the moment, we can clearly see that price has been very, very bullish on gold. We see a lot of investors shifting their funds into safe havens such as the gold, and that's why it's keep on running up. So why would I look to sell the market in a clear bullish momentum that we're currently running off? I know a lot of people want to pick tops and bottoms, but in markets like this, when a lot of people are shifting cash flow into gold, it's important to realize, okay, cool, maybe picking tops and bottoms is not always going to be the best thing, right? So that's why it's important to utilize Forex Factory, utilize news to correlate with your trading ideas. I'm going to get into an example with EURUSD this morning as we saw sell off, but I'm going to say how I would have entered that position as well. Unfortunately, I did miss it and I was a little bit late, but I already know what happened and why the news obviously ran lower and we could have hit TPs on that trade idea. So let's just quickly run over how to actually utilize Forex Factory to the fullest. Now, first things first that you always need to identify is coming to Forex Factory before you even look at the charts, identify the news that is going to be taking place within the market here. So we can clearly see it's Tuesday today, not major news that's taking place here. So it's again, Forex Factory is a free site that you can go look at. So we can clearly see on Tuesday, right, we have different levels of what is major news, minor news, and bank holidays, etc. So if we look at Monday yesterday, any folder that is gray like this is bank holiday, and you'll see it's all day. This stipulates the time when a news event will be released, and you can see it was a USD bank holiday and a CAD bank holiday for the whole day yesterday, and that's why we could clearly see the market was very, very slow. I mean, let's just go take a look at what EURUSD was doing yesterday. Bouncing up and down. This is the day range, not much pip movement overall in this little sector over here. I mean, we can clearly see what's that 50 pip move over across the whole day, which is not major at all. I mean, in terms of what price is currently doing now when it's not bank holiday, I mean, we've already doubled that, doubled that price movement in simply a day that isn't on the bank holiday. So if you are looking for positions and trade ideas in a bank holiday, you always have to be a little bit more wary in the trade ideas that you can be selecting. Understand that it's going to be slow movement and not rushing your trade ideas because of that reason, right? So bank holiday yesterday. Now you understand what the grey folders mean. It's bank holiday, 10 to 1, you want to stay away from those pairs, or if you are looking for idea, just keep that in the back of your mind. Then we have yellow folders. This is low impact news, right? Very, very minor, nothing that's really going on. It's not going to affect the market drastically. It's only going to affect the market just slightly as well. And the way you can utilize, actually see if you are interested in what's actually going on. As we can see, we got New Zealand dollar, JPY, Australian dollar, the yen, euro, and it kind of shows exactly the times that's going on. So for example, we have a 4 p.m. USD news, and it's ISM manufacturing PMI, right? Very major impact news. As you can see, it's a red folder, and then we have orange folders, that is medium impact news, right? Not major, but still has a small effect on the markets, right? Then you'll see on the top right here, we just have actual, forecast, previous, and graphed, right? So what the actual is what, when the news event comes out, what is the data that is being released. Then we have forecast, what is expected, right? In terms of what the people are expecting the news related data to come out. And then we're going to see the previous, which is obviously be the month before when they released the latest news. It would be what the data was actually released on. Then you can see we have a little folder that's going on here. It's open detail. So if you click on open detail, now you can not only see the speculations of what actually is going on, you can see the history. So as I was saying, the previous forecast, for example, on the New Zealand dollar at 12 a.m. 45, so that was early morning, we can see that previous was 9.1%, which we can clearly see on June 3rd 2025 it was 1.9%. The forecast was 3.6, and it actually came out negative data that came out for this news event at the moment. Then we can clearly see it has been pretty decent. Here today we had a positive news event. So the way that you can also identify what is good for the market, what isn't good for the market, is it actually says here, so source, statistics, New Zealand, right, the latest release, you can take a look at that. Change in price of international trade goods, what is it actually indicating? What is this news event all about? So overseas trade index, so it just shows you the measure, change in the price of international traded goods. So it's explaining to you what is a news event actually related to. Then we have usual effect, right? Actual greater than forecast is good for currency. So meaning if the actual comes out better than the forecast, it's already positive for the news, and you'll see there's an impact on whatever pair you're trading. If you're trading New Zealand to the USD, you will see an impact on that. But again, this is low impact news, so it's not going to be major. Then we can see when the frequency of it is released quarterly, about 60 days after the quarter ends, and then next release date will be December 2nd, right? And then you can also say the notes that we have here, and also called Terms of Trading Index, Overseas Merchandise Trading Index. Okay, cool. So that's how you can find out exactly what is going on the news events. If price comes out or the data that comes out is better, is it good for the country or worse? Because there are occasions where it comes out better, but it's actually worse. So for example, here we have Spanish unemployment rate, right? And if we click on the folder here, forecast is -21 and actual is 1.4K. So actual, we have a different effect. Actual less than forecast is good for the currency. So forecast was 14.2K, but the actual came out to 21.9K, the data. So we can clearly see that is actually negative for the currency. And you can put two and two together. Spanish unemployment rate change went from 14 to 21, or it went from 1.4 to 21, which is a major increase. So that definitely was affecting the market already. So we can clearly see that in terms of Euro USD, we had Donald Trump saying really good for the dollar started spiking. But not only that, we had low impact news pushing the euro down as well. Then we also had now medium impact news at 11 o'clock. As you can see here, it was good for the currency by 0.1%, which is not much. And then we had a very basic 2.1%. So you'll see if price opens up the same as the forecast. It's not going to do major changes, not going to give much information and impact in the market. So we can clearly see here, again, actual greater than the forecast is good for the currency, as you can see. So that's how you're utilizing your low, medium, bank holiday news events and data related news events, right? Then let's come to major impact news. Now, this is very, very important to almost stay away from, or at least be mindful, because there's going to be a lot of volatility, a lot of volume coming into the market, especially at times like this. I mean, 3:30, obviously that's when New York opens, so there's already a lot of volume, a lot of traders are waking up, a lot of investors, the markets are moving in New York time, so there's already volume already. So when we see 4 p.m. news, we have USD, ICM, manufacturing, PMI, as I was saying early on, right? Now we need to actually identify, okay, cool, what is going on, right? The dollar already had a nice, beautiful reaction this morning. We're seeing it spike higher. So if we are getting better results in the forecast, we'll start to see dollar rise even further. A diffusion index based on surveyed purchasing managers in the manufacturing industry. Okay, so that's what it's measuring, right? Then we have actual greater than forecast is good for the currency. So ideally, if you're looking for shorts on USD, if you're looking for shorts on GBP USD or against the dollar, you know, you're going to want to be looking for shorts if the data comes out positive, right? If it comes out negative, you want to look for buys. Obviously, in terms with your strategy, that's just an overall picture. Today, I'm expecting, as it is Tuesday, I'm expecting the dollar to rise and continue being bullish momentum for the day. Then what we can actually go do is check the past data related. I was saying earlier, actual greater than forecast, not major change. You know, we've had a forecast was 49.5%. The forecast, the previous was 49.0%, and the actual was 8.0%. So that's 1% down from previous in August 1st. That's when we got that data released. It was 1% down. So we're expecting some rise today. If we got a forecast of 49.0, right? If we can get a 49.5%, that will look really good for the country. So this is how you're going to be utilizing news on a day-to-day basis when it comes to Forex Factory, because it's important to correlate. Now, I'm going to show you exactly how I would have utilized my strategy with the news and volume related. So if we can go take a look back here. So what we're always looking for again is identifying flows. But what we've clearly seen is that the market starts to push down USD in the market, right? What's very important for me is I like to take off value areas and EMA alignment. So essentially I'm looking for my supply area, which would be at this point here. Okay, my supply would be on my value, which would be the 50 equilibrium of Asian range with EMA aligned. And again, we have different settings, and if you guys are trying to figure it out. And then we have price extending at least to 27. So this is a B plus grade idea. So it's not something I would always put on full risk, especially because we're always looking for overnight low breakout. But let's see how price reacts. Obviously we get that beautiful rejection off our zone and then extension down hitting TP. That's exactly the trade I would have taken with volume, with news related. It's a reversal idea. That's why I said it's a B plus grade idea. But I mean, that would have been the exact trade would have taken this morning. But unfortunately I was out of it. So hope you learned something. This is how you utilize Forex Factory and aligning it with your trading strategy on a day-to-day basis. You know, again, it's very, very important to read a little bit about the news before you jump on the chart. Just go jump onto the news channel and go see what is going on. You know, take a bit of a scroll on what is going on Euro, or search a bit of a pair that you have been trading for quite some time. Let's say it's USD or whatever the case may be. That's when you're going to tend to look for more. What is stocks doing in the US? If you're trading any Forex pairs, go find out some details about what the country's doing at that time. So obviously if you like trading gold, you're going to want to look at what gold is doing, and why investors are shifting from stocks, from cryptos into safe havens like gold, because of uncertainty and the volatility in the market due to tariffs and etc., external forces in the market as well. So hope you learned something. Make sure to like and subscribe. Again, I'm going to be posting as much valuable content as I possibly can, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.